Oop. Nope, still offline. It says I'm offline. I'm offline, right? Nope, I'm live. I don't know how long I've been live. I don't know how things work. The internet does not refresh for me. So, hi, it is Friday. It is 8:20 p.m. on Friday, March 1st, 2019, and we are still making indie games. When last I left off, I actually had to look it up because, again, this week has been a huge blur, and I couldn't remember everything I did this week. It's not that there's longer times between the streams, it's just that the work is getting more varied. And there's more managing people, and I'm getting like randomized a lot, so it's kind of difficult. But last time I streamed, I didn't check if my mic is working. It is. Okay. Last time we streamed, I was working on the Euler unlock, so let me see where we are there. I'm sure I have footage of that. I take footage as I work, so there should be something hanging out in like... You'd think I'd get this ready ahead of time. You'd be wrong. Did I... Here's one. This might be it. Yeah. So that was the animation I did. I was just retiming it to the audio I got. That was pretty quick. I think I did that basically after the stream last time we were streaming. After that, I'm looking through Perforce. Hey Marcos, I'm just updating everybody. What did I do after that? I mean, it's been a lot of working with Surface Digital and the environments. We've I wouldn't say... I've told them they're not allowed to add any new environments until after GDC. We're just fixing what's there. There's still a lot of stuff that's gray boxed and not quite fixed yet. There's still certain things that need to just get fixed that we're working on. So it was a lot of working with them. It was a lot of working with Pat and my musician. What else? Oh yeah, I finished up getting in all of the different marketing materials. So if you go to the Steam storefront now, like if you Google Kine Steam, you'll see all the new shit. I got new screenshots in there from the new art. All that's in there. I had to take some footage, some B-roll footage for press kit. We've got our new concept art. All that's in there. So that was some chunk of this week. And then there was the big thing that happened, what is it, on Wednesday and Thursday. The main stage in the past, the way that was set up was like a series of skeletal meshes that were attached to a skeletal mesh. And it was impossible to get, so there's like these pages. It'll be easier if I show you. This audio is all changing. Don't listen to this. I'm gonna do a polish pass again on this with different audio, probably Monday next week. But the big thing that happened is you'll see the stage is different. There's, for narrative reasons and puzzle reasons later on, I wanted to get rid of the ribbon and add a different thing. I did do that. I modeled that up. Before, each of these pages, like a clump of 3 pages, was a different skeletal mesh, a different object in the game versus the stage. So it's just a major refactor. This is all one skeletal mesh now, with just a shit ton of bones. I'm highlighting, there's a different material instance on each of the pages that I'm highlighting for this part. You'll also notice the camera's changed. There's a load of bugs with getting the stage to turn around and have the camera move correctly, and it was just not worth it, especially now that with the UI the way it is with the controller. Like, see how like going from here to here looks like ass? I'm gonna change the other view to be different too, so that you always have this kind of effect. Anyway, so no more turning the camera 180 degrees. That was a major rework. There's just, this is all new animation. It's not really polished yet. I need to polish it. Part of the reason I did that, whoopsie. Sorry, I didn't mean to click that. Common mistake I do. That's all working again. And another big reason I did that was so that I could have some kind of ending. Which also has an animation. So that's all. Basically, I spent 2 days just sinking into everything that stage needs to do, rigging it, restructuring the way the object works, setting that all up, and getting in stub animations for everything, including the ending of the each of the characters' solo mission, because people are going to be playing that at GDC, theoretically, so I want it to be good. That brings us up to today, and I don't remember what I did today. I played the game this morning and I did many bugs. Been mostly bug fixing all day. You can probably look at my history. Yeah, lots of bug fixing. Helping out Surface Digital. I wrote down a lot of bugs this morning and I have not even begun to get through them. I think I crossed 3 off the list. And now I've lost my list. Where's my list? Oh my god, I have more than one list. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, the big ones are Euler's sound effects are terrible. I have to get to that. I want to have a release candidate for I want to have a GDC build, my first version, done by Friday next week. So things need to happen before that. I need Euler to not suck. One of the big things I'm definitely going to do this weekend is the camera control. With using the controller, moving the camera just feels like ass. I've been meaning to fix that forever. I'm hiding from that problem. That problem's really hard. I don't know what to do about it, and I don't want to deal with it because it's a mess. Yeah, and then there's just a lot of little bugs. And then there's a thing that I don't really need to do, but I kind of want to do, which is what we're going to do now, because it's 8:30 on Friday. Which is, I've been thinking about what I want it to look like when you unlock a stage. I don't like the current UI. I mean, obviously, the current UI is temp. Like you saw when I was unlocking Euler earlier. If I pull that up again. The UI right now looks like this. Which is like, what the hell is that? I think I'm going to change it so that it looks... It's just going to be a thing that says you've unlocked, and then if you've unlocked a section, it'll show the same section UI that you get when you're choosing on the level select menu. I think that'll be more intuitive. Another thing I did was, because of the conversation we had in the Discord, I've like annotated main quest or side quest for each thing. I don't think it'll help, but that is a thing. Anyway, hi Root Lancer, hi Marcos, hey Mino. Happy Friday. Sorry for the long intro. Okay. So, UI stuff. Yes. I think this is what I want it to look like. I mean, not with the Arial, like with the right font here. I think... Yeah. And this will say like continue instead of exit. I just copy pasted a button for this, but yeah, I think that general idea is there'll be a thing here. The thing you've unlocked will overhang, and happy Friday. So I know what it looks like when you unlock a If you unlock a section, it makes a lot of sense to just show the section. If you unlock a stage, like I have at the top of the screen, here I'm going to turn off audio so you guys don't have to hear the game all the time. Give me a sec. Okay. Come on, game, let's go. So if you unlock something up here, I think it'll look right if when you unlock something, it shows the section you've unlocked. I think that'll look good. And I've started reworking the writing a bit to make this make sense. I don't know what to do if you unlock a full stage. Like, I don't know what that should look like. Here. I don't have a solution for that yet. And then the other UI to figure out is the one where you're switching, where it's like, after you've unlocked, you hit continue, you keep going through the level, and then you get a different menu, which is like choose between these two options, these two sections. I kind of think I'm probably going to redo that to be similar to this as well. Probably. But yeah, see? Side quest. Main quest. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know if anything's a good idea. We will find out. Alright. Alright, so how do I do that thing I just said we were going to do? Well, let's see what we got. So also just looking into all the possible things you could be unlocking. Oh shit. Interesting. There's also just a possible message. So this is being used for different purposes. It's not just used to tell you you've unlocked something. It's also just like an OK prompt. Yeah, I might need to save this off for the very rare instances where I have that. What do you, like a confirm dialogue? Confirm prompt. Am I doing the right thing? I think so. Though that just means there's just another thing to manage. No, I'm gonna lean into it. I think it's gonna be funny. Alright. I'll use this for the confirm prompts too. It'll just have a weird layout. Yeah, I'm into it. Whatever. Fuck it. Alright, so here's what we'll do. Yeah, okay. So what do we want to do then? I do want to use this UI. I like this idea. How do I make this real? Let's start with the graphical assets. I need this box. I don't need this. I actually just want this to be black. What am I doing? UI. What is this dialog box called? Guess this will be the unlocked. Stage section? Section or stage? God damn it. Do I have... Maybe there are no images for anything else. There's loads of them. Maybe it just has to go in the highest folder. Whatever. So this will be... Sure. What am I doing here? Like what folder? UI. I'm sorry, it's late on a Friday and I've lost my mind. I'm slow right now. UI. Get rid of this shit so I can see if you guys talk to me. Image. Main panel. I want you to be bottom right now. You're there. That's unusual. Why are you anchored there? What the f... You're anchored in the bottom right. Oh, it's you. You're the problem. Alright, now how do I guess I'm just gonna copy things from this other widget. I wish there's a way to copy effectively. So the section widget. I wonder if I could just make a section widget. Oh. I think this has some assumptions. It must. Right? About how it's made and stuff. Like, I can't just drop a section in here, can I? Can I? I mean, we should try it, because that would be an incredibly elegant solution if it worked. Concerned with your decision on where to anchor shit. If this actually works, that's going to be pretty interesting. So what do I need to call to set you up? When the level select calls this widget, I mean, it would be pretty easy to just add something that's like is button, maybe is enabled. Is active, is something that you can edit and mess with. What's a word? Is interactive. And if you're not interactive, then you can't be clicked. And hovering over you with a mouse does nothing. What else? Yeah. Okay. So we'll take this, we'll do I'm into this. I think I'm going to make this work one way or another. We're going to just nuke this. We're going to have faith in our capacity to make this work. I'm going to regret this. Don't nuke that. Why did you nuke that? You don't need to nuke that. I already regret it. Think this through. Hold on. I don't need that or that. Why can't I see this? Where are you? Oh, because I hit it. You dumb shit. Alright, justify to the left. Alright. You're my default button. And that should already be scripted up to say continue. So we're actually in pretty good shape already. If this actually works. So the interesting thing is going to be getting this to work. Wait, continue button, anchor that here. Everything is anchored there now, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so when you begin, change the text in the button to say continue. I dig that. Let's get this level section widget. Let's set is interactive to false. No, that doesn't exist yet. We've just confused the crap out of Unreal. Alright, is interactive is true by default. We will set it to false here. Right. This was always stupid, and now it's dead. Ooh, fuck. Well, there's gonna be some work. It's an alarming amount of passing strings to shit. I'm not good at stuff. Okay. That's done. Right? Yes? Yes. All right. Okay. Now to make this work, so set is interactive to false. I would probably have to set up there's gonna be like a function I wrote. Right? Update section description. And this is where I initialize the section. What am I gonna, how was I thinking I would do this exactly? Didn't really think that through, did I? No. No, I did not. Okay. Well, so this happens when it's first constructed, which it's constructed once in the game and it's shown in this window is shown and hidden at different times when you unlock different things. And I just update what it says down here. I say what it's going to update to. Here you can see if okay, if I unlocked it with the music stand, so it's unlocking a section, this is the path it takes. Okay, and it just says unlocked section name. So what we're going to do now is hijack that. This is going to grow a lot, or a little, I don't know. So rather than change a bit of text, we're gonna change this whole deal. There's no way to cast from a text. Fuck. Oh wait, no, I don't need to. Right, this is the section you've unlocked. Level number. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I don't need this. Because that's all being handled by this function. And okay. So the function's gonna look through the data table and set everything. Wow, it can't be that easy. It's been a while since I touched this UI. Might be that easy. I don't know. Oh, it's getting real, guys. It's the date today. It's the 1st. Two weeks from now. Not really. 2 weeks and 4 days. 3 days. I'm bad at math. Maybe 5 days. I don't know. Depends on who's playing and when. Depends on your perspective. Soon people will be playing this. Look at that. I'm on the fence about this drum thing. Like, I like a lot of the work they've been doing. They've been doing some incredible work. And they're very concerned about everything looking really blocky. Which I'm not, but they are. And they're really big on breaking up the shapes. But I just feel like... For one thing, I just kind of feel like they literally fucking plopped a drum there. And we're like, oh, it'll work. I think they might be right about wanting to break up the shapes, but that just feels a little, I don't know, man. Also, they broke some stuff, which is like, we can't keep breaking stuff. We're getting way too close. Like this right here. Here, I'll show you. It's just, it keeps happening. And it's, they moved something down. There's 2 pieces here. There's this piece, which is loaded with a level, and then there's this piece. And they wanted to make this a different shape, so they made it bigger. And they lowered that, but they're not allowed to ever lower anything. I think we're getting to a place where they finally get it, because I'm getting mad about it. But this is like, god damn it. Like, this was supposed to be up here so that you hit it. And it's just, the footprint is extremely carefully done, like, of what is in each grid tile, because some things have to go up and some things go down, and things will clip through each other. And if you miss things, if you delete things, if you put things at a different Z height, that just messes it all up. And I know that's like really difficult to art up, and it's really difficult, like the constraints are bad, and especially if they want to, there's places where I let them bend the rules in order to get different shapes, but you can't guess where that is because there's just too many places where you just can't mess with it. They did fix this, that's kind of nice. I don't know. I feel like they've got a guess and check method where they're like, this will look cool, and then I have to be like, no, but I'm worried I'm gonna miss something. It's been stressing me out. The reason why I'm stressed is because we've reached a point where, as of this week, this is the first week I'm not involved in putting the art into the engine. Like, they have Perforce, and they've reached a point where the artists are now putting their own work into the engine, and then I find out about it later, which is fun and is good because I'm not a bottleneck anymore, and that's important, but it's also extraordinarily stressful because, like, I'll play through and I'll be like, wait a minute, I would have never imported that because I know it breaks the game. Or be like, wait a minute, why is there a hole in the world? There didn't used to be a hole there, and then I just wouldn't bring it in. Whereas now there's a hole in the world and I'm not sure which level it was supposed to be a part of. Like, maybe it was supposed to be a part of this level, Or maybe it was supposed to be a part of this one or this one, and I don't know. And it's just maddening. It's important, but it's maddening. That's all. But it is cool that I wake up in the morning and there's just new art and I didn't do anything. That's worth it. When it works, it's really cool. Anyway, yeah, I don't know how I feel about the helmet either. I'm avoiding human-y stuff. This is going on human-y. Also, I think I understand the desire to break up shapes, but I really don't like the black outline technique they're using here for some of this stuff. Like, I'm on the fence about it. I told them I don't want to do the, like, it should be a last resort. Making the model bigger and then turning it black and inverting the normals. I don't want to do that everywhere. I don't want that to be like the look of the game, you know? I think they did a great job here. Like, that's just really well executed, right? That's all painted. That's actually really well done. Considering the few tools I gave them to work with, I'm pretty impressed. Gotta let them have some fun. They put in a stuffed dinosaur animal and I just deleted it. And then they put it again and then I deleted it again. Hey, Patrick. Having a bit of a situation. I do love these guys though. They are so good. I should show you some. I mean, you get to see their stuff now because it's in the game. We're getting there. I still have a lot of my notes to go through for some of this stuff. I wanted them to replace all the overhangs with the grates so that we have a uniform language, which they've done, which I dig. And they rounded it. Nice. I'm actually seeing some of this for the first time. I'm not gonna lie, I've been so in the weeds of my own stuff. I want them to play with bigger shapes. It was one of the last conversations I had, was how the world looks like a lot of little boxes right now, rather than having the really large shapes that I was hoping for. When I first started speccing this out, there was like, this entire level is just a steamer trunk, right here. I wanted bigger shapes. And as time goes on, like, it's easier to just make things out of a lot of smaller shapes. And have a lot of smaller props, and I've been asking them to pull out the smaller props. Like, I don't want a prop that's smaller than a level. Like right here, you see like these paintbrushes. Like, it's cool. Part of me says keep it, but another part of me says, why isn't that a massive paintbrush like down here? You know what I mean? Like, let's take these things and just make them way bigger than life, and put them in the world. And I think that would just have a better look, something that looks, I don't know. I feel like we're just getting way too noisy with the game. It doesn't need to be this noisy. That was one of the last conversations we had. I don't want to be difficult, because I know, I mean, at the end of the day, we've got 6. So I hired them in January. They started in January, and they have until July, and we're going to content lock is end of July. So they've got 6 months to do all the art for the game. And they know exactly what they have to do, and I'm working with them on it really closely. But these are the deadlines, right? So I can't be too much of a princess about every fucking thing, but I don't know, I'm too close. So it's hard for some of this stuff. So what did I just do to my hair? Maybe I should stop looking like a goddamn idiot. All right. The rounded objects, like, I know they're gonna fix this, but like the rounded objects are the hardest thing. I just hate them so much. It doesn't look like something you can push off of, and I really think part of the art style, like if I had time to define the art Bible, is angles and edges, and that's very important. And so when you have these rounded things, you don't, for one thing, you lose the feeling of the grid. You don't feel what the grid is, and you also just don't have anything you can push off of. Like, it doesn't, how do I put it? It just doesn't feel like it's just not the style I'm going for. I don't know how else to put it. I need to come up with a solution there. That's actually probably on me. Why is that floating? So you're part of this level, but you don't go all the way down. Fuck. You need to go all the way down. Where is this? About 11C. On the upside, it's the weekend, so I'm gonna go in and change all their FBXs. One of the things about the remote team is it's like difficult to know who is what checked out, because oftentimes they'll be working on source assets and there's only one guy, Rick, that's putting everything in the engine whenever he gets the opportunity, so I don't know exactly which FBXs they're working on. So the likelihood that we overlap and like accidentally work on each other's work and invalidate each other's work is very high if I start messing with the levels too much. So I do it on the weekends. Like, tomorrow, I'll go in and I'll do this. Ooh. Also, I just remember this because the chick that did this is in Australia. We have, the fourth person on the team is a concept artist in Australia. And I've had her working on, I guess I can just show you in Photoshop. This is not what I'm looking for. Is this what I'm looking for? That is a picture of GDC. Hey, Princessa. Actually, I have footage of this, don't I? But I have footage of it. No? Damn it. I'm getting... Oh, yeah. This is for the cutscene for Quat. She started painting it. We're still... I gave them notes for this and what I want this to be. You have to imagine Quat's going to be in silhouette here, so this is going to be a big black silhouette of Quat. When this is done, I'll show you. I expect it out in game. I could show you now, I guess. That's her temporary image. She's not done yet, but I wanted to get it technically working. So, like, this is the cutscene. Anyway, and this is the unlock screen that we're working on. So, let's get this working. As you can see, currently not working. Also, what it used to be. So, right. I think what I actually need to do is take this, because when you unlock a character, you technically unlock a section. I'm just routing it differently. So when you unlock Quat, what you really unlock is, where's my section list? When you unlock Quat, you unlock a section called Opening 2. You're about to see the madness. If we keep going here. When you unlock the accordion, you unlock accordion 1. That sounds reasonable. Check it out. Yeah, I should have copy and pasted this first. Unlock Euler. You actually unlock a section called Trombone 1, I hope? Yes. So let's see if that works. I mean, probably won't, but just see where we are. Nothing was updated. Even that wasn't updated. That's surprising. That's a new kind of being very broken. Is this not right? Yeah, that's because it didn't compile. Whoops. Target. Right. Yeah, okay. I have to give it the variable to update. And that should have been obvious. Hey, check it out. It worked. I think I should set it to be highlighted so that it's not as transparent, probably, or I should extend that box more. I think I'm going to set it to be highlighted, though. That'll make everything orange and white. Another option is, and now we're getting a bit weird, we can go into the actual section widget. When you update the art based on your state, this is where we set the color for things based on if you're hovered over it, or if it's active or inactive or whatever, right? Level buttons parent. Where do I? Yeah, here's where I'm setting the opacity. So if you're highlighted or oh fuck. How about this? Can I select based on bool? Pull you over here. Alright, so we're still going to go down these two paths if you're highlighted or not. That's still your if statement, but before the if statement, I'm going to set the opacity here, and I'm going to use a select, and the select is going to be if true 0.9, if false 0.45, and I'm going to say if is highlighted or is not interactive. basically another if statement before the other one, but it looks prettier. It looks prettier this way. So how do you like using Blueprint? Do you feel like it gives you enough control? Yes. I mean, yeah, I love it, obviously. I don't even know where to begin. I love Blueprint. It is great for me, personally. And for what I want to do, it gives me enough control. I mean, yeah. It's hard to say. How do I put it? I imagine if I was a programmer, I would probably want to do the kinds of things that would make me use the tools I had. But since I'm not, maybe the things I want are the things I can do in Blueprint because I know Blueprint really well. So it's hard to say. But yes, it is. As far as visual scripting goes, I haven't seen anything as good as this before. It's a hell of a lot better than Kismet was. And it's a step up certainly from Unreal Script, or from, like, I think Blueprint gives me more control than a lot of various, like, Lua scripting APIs I've had access to before. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, what's exposed to you in most of these things is just what you've, like, most of the time you're just getting the things that the person who wrote the software decided to expose to you. Whereas as time has gone on more and more with like Python and Maya, because you can import other libraries, you have access to a lot more than just what the programmer is exposed to you. And so a lot of the scripting languages have been getting more powerful, but none of the visual scripting languages have been as powerful as Blueprint so far. This is pretty intensely powerful. I mean, I'm making this entire game in Blueprint, and it's a real game. Like, yeah. I'm not gonna talk shit about Elmore anymore because I know he creeps here sometimes. But yeah, I mean, you can make an entire game in Blueprint. We'll see. I haven't shipped yet, but I'm pretty sure you can. I'll be demoing this game very soon at GDC. You can come and see a game made entirely in Blueprint. What was I in the middle of? But that is kind of part of a bigger conversation, right? Even Fortnite uses it. Well, I mean, any game that uses Unreal uses Blueprint to some degree, right? I mean, it's just, you're always going to have, typically, you're going to have like a lower level and a higher level scripting language and everything. It's just the higher, like instead of having C# or Python or Lua, they have Blueprint, which is just a scripting language. And if you know how to code, you can actually take advantage of Blueprint a lot more. So the coolest Blueprint I've seen is usually written by programmers. Not the coolest, the cleanest. Programming isn't cool. Nothing is cool about this. But gameplay programmers are, I don't know, Architect. I've seen both sides of that. I know certain, like, the gameplay programmers I worked with loved it. But there's definitely a lot of risk because Blueprint gives people who don't have code a lot of power, or who aren't traditionally programmers, a lot of power. And there is a certain amount of, now you're like babysitting other people's code sometimes, which is unpleasant, I imagine. But yeah, I feel you. Yeah, what's cooler than a programmer? Nothing. It's the coolest imaginable thing. Yeah. When I think game developer, I think incredibly cool. So yeah. I mean, I can tell you where Blueprint falls down for me is definitely the UI stuff, but that's so I've read why they there's a lot of gripes about Slate and UMG in Unreal, and there's a lot of reasons why they do what they do, and there's a lot of theory crafting on both the lowest level and the highest level of the UI stuff, but it is definitely like, oh my god, are there some fucking hacks in this UI? You have no idea. And I've lost some sleep over some of the shit I've had to do in this. Blueprints are just programming with the added complexity of having to lay it out and connect all the nodes, but without syntax. Perhaps. There's advantages and disadvantages. Refactoring is a huge pain in the ass. You can't copy paste things in the same way, really. Like if I copied something from one blueprint object to another object, I'd have to recreate all the variables, everything would be disconnected. Things don't always, when you're doing a lot of copy pasting, things tend to break a lot. Like there's disadvantages for sure, but the advantages are just you don't have to compile, which is huge. Everything is instant. You can very quickly iterate. Yeah, you can, for rapid prototyping, it's amazing. I think Epic would tell you to prototype in Blueprint, and as soon as you know what you're doing, move the stuff that you need to be super fast and everything. The stuff where the more core stuff generally gets moved into C++. That's how they do it. You want your math nodes to align properly. I generally don't worry about that. If you could see the things the way I say programming is fun. Programming can be fun. Programming is like, have you ever had an argument with somebody and you're trying to make a point and then they're like, they won't even talk about your point, they're just going to talk about the way you said something. They're like, oh, I just don't like your tone of voice right now. I just don't think you're taking me serious, or something like that. That's what I feel like when I'm programming. It's not, and part of that is I never have one language because my background is a tech artist, so I'm always switching between like today I'm in Lua and today I'm in Python, but at any given moment I'm like fucking raging against syntax or whatever it is I'm doing, or however it is, some API, some bullshit has been implemented in some system which is never the same across everything. Like, and half the team uses Maya and half uses Max, so now I'm in Python half the time and I'm in MaxScript half the time and I'm in Lua some of the time because I'm working with Morpheme too, and I'm in Kismet some of the time and Unreal Script some of the time. And like that was my life at Irrational, right? And so it's you pretty quickly rage against the various languages. Whereas Blueprint, I mean, I can read it. It's also why I like Python. I feel like I'm having a conversation, and it, Python will accept, like, I can say not, I can use a fucking like a exclamation point. Python just cares about what I'm trying to say. They don't care about how I'm saying it, which is why I'm like, all right, Python, I feel like you get me, I like Python the best. Blueprints are also a nice way to introduce coding to people. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely could be a gateway drug. I didn't start out in that direction. It sounds irrational. So it's hard to say. Generally, you should always push in all directions. I think being a curious person means you'll try to go lower level or higher level, or you'll push into into adjacent fields. Like the best modelers I know dabble in rigging and dabble in concept, and vice versa. I'm sure it's the same. You don't like Python's lack of semicolons? Yeah, but is that just because of habit and what you're used to, or is that because there's a logical reason? Because I look at semicolons and I'm like, this is, I don't know how to put it, ugly-ish. People study who to do proper syntax for programming languages. I don't know what your sentence means. I'm trying to parse it. Nowadays, people study who to do proper syntax for programming languages. No, man, I still can't read that. That's not sensical. How? Nowadays, people study how to do proper syntax for programming languages. Okay. I'm still not quite sure what you're saying. I'm trying to think of why I like Python more. I think I like Python more because I don't know. I think it was the first one that, because my interaction was with Python, Rolly, and Maya, which was my favorite application to use by far between Max and Maya. And everything else, I like the random scripting bullshit you would do in what do you call it? Photoshop. Between them all, like ActionScript. Between them all, I liked Maya the most. Maybe that's why I liked Python the most. It was also the first time I had access to it was the first scripting language that gave me access to to a world outside of just whatever software I was in, which was nice. Hey Belly Arms, what's up, man? What are we breaking? Today, we're breaking this particular UI screen. There are studies about how a proper syntax should look like. I mean, isn't that incredibly subjective, Sedokan? I mean, who's to say what's proper? It totally depends on what you're doing, right? I imagine, maybe. I don't know, but I mean, we can't even figure that out for English. Like, we're still having conversations about the Oxford comma. Oh yeah, it's subjective. I'm gonna grab a soda. Give me shit to read, I'll be right back. I said I'd get a soda, so I got a soda because I follow through on the things I say. However, it is 9:30 at night and I should not be drinking a soda. But I also do want the soda. It's a conundrum. If I drink the soda, it will mess up my sleep, which has been messed up quite a bit. So I mean, why? I mean, we're already messed up, right? On the one hand. On the other hand, it'll never get better if I don't alter my behavior. On the other hand, it's just one soda. I mean, really. And I'm streaming, and I deserve it. So here we go. So you need 2 sodas. That's the only way to correct it? Okay. Semicolons are logical. Nothing's fucking logical about semicolons. I don't even know how you're supposed to use semicolons in life, let alone anything else. Like, I can't picture a sentence. I mean, I could. There's a C++ consortium where people debate how to improve C++, and it takes them years to get standardized. I think I've heard about this. There's like a committee of people in cloaks and shit that like fuck with C++ every now and then, right? Like they get together on the rag and they like make decisions. I assume Microsoft has a lot to do with it. Everything I know about programming, I know like secondhand from various conversations around me, so this is gonna make no sense to you. Like, C++ existed, but then it didn't change for a long time, but then I guess in 2012 it did, but mostly for the better, but a lot of people are mad about it, because change is difficult. And even though they fixed a lot of things, they also just changed things. Something seemingly changed for no reason, and it's all very controversial. Replace a semicolon with emojis. Good lord. If we ever reach that point, Like I'm already not keen on the emoji situation in real. Like I can't figure. I spent 10 minutes yesterday trying to figure out how to get that soon emoji in Twitter because everybody else has their name soon GDC, and I sat here and I was like, I wasted 10 minutes of my life trying to figure out how to put an emoji into Twitter, and like, you know, you only got so many years on the planet, and then I just wrote soon, and now I hate emojis. I blame emojis for wasting 10 minutes of my life. Microsoft has very little to say about C++, which is why they came up with C# to have control over it. Okay. C# is so different, isn't it? Well, I guess I don't really know these things. I always thought of C# as being kind of higher level, closer to like a scripting language, but not quite, like something in between C++ and C, or C++ and Lua. Programmers are the most likely type of person to hate change, even if it's for the better. That's... Not my personal experience. I know a lot of programmers. Basically everyone I know is a programmer. So I suppose I can't A/B test this because I don't really know anybody that's not a programmer. So you could be right. It could just be that the rest of the world is like way into change, but programmers aren't. I suppose that's possible. That's within the possibility space, but I suspect that's not true. I do think programmers hate anything that is written by another programmer. So change done by somebody else would probably be upsetting in that way. I think that might be what you're tapping into. But some of that just comes down to, like, you see a thing done, you know you could do it too. You have a theory of how you would do it differently. Microsoft tries to push new features, but not many of them are in C++. Headerless C++ in 2017. Oh, really? I'm going to read this out loud because it's interesting. C# was designed to take on C++. That's why the sharp is 2 plus signs overlapping. It was going to take C++ to the next level by adding automatic garbage collection and compile to an intermediate language like Java does, which would enable it to run on more devices. But they failed to capitalize on that. It sounds like in Microsoft, if I could critique them, I would say they tend to invest a lot into very big ideas. And then there's some shift at the top and then they don't. And I feel like I see that pattern a lot. I feel like I saw that with like XNA. I feel like I saw that with, honestly, with like the Kinect stuff. I think they're a huge part of why they're doing 2 consoles. They're announcing 2 consoles rather than 1 was because they got so burned by the always on bad press they got when they came out with the Xbox One initially. So now they can't, and now they want to lean heavily into streaming. They're really open about that, but that requires an always on box, and so they're kind of going back, but not all the way, and it's just kind of like I haven't heard anything about the HoloLens in a while, and I know for a fact they invested heavily in that. The story's changed 5 times, the name of the story. Yeah, and my interactions with Microsoft are usually, because I have to work with them a lot, and I haven't, like, it's, in a way it's really good to get to know a rep at Microsoft, because in 2 years they're going to be somewhere else. And, you know, if you just keep getting to know the reps at Microsoft, soon you'll know the whole fucking industry. Because, yeah, like my contacts from ID at Xbox are now at every other publisher. So I have contacts at every publisher because I was friends with them. But that does make it really difficult to have a steady contact at Microsoft, I will say. I'm just shit-talking them. I shouldn't. Oh, Cal, if that was hurtful. Microsoft made the first smartphone. They showed the HoloLens too? I should look into that. I have friends that were working on that team. I've lost touch with them. Alright, I'm gonna put on headphones and that's gonna help me focus. And then Unreal Engine, of course they will. Epic will support everything. They've got the money and the resources, and I'm not gonna work yet. I mean, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Epic. I'm not gonna like pretend anymore. I was never pretending. I love Epic. I think what they do is great. I think they're taking over the market right now. I don't know for sure they'll crush Steam, but their push to be on to have their store on all the platforms is interesting. In general, the push for all the storefronts to be on every piece of hardware is interesting. Like the Microsoft Store being on the Switch and the Epic Store being on the Switch is really weird. Interesting. I don't know if the Epic Store is on the Switch. I just assume that's coming too. Oh, hey, Cal. Fuck, I forgot, man. Sorry. I should write notes to myself. Sorry about that. Hey. The approach of Blueprints is like Lego, and Lego is very familiar for most people. So if you make a language that works more visually than typing, I don't know how Blueprints are like Legos. I don't know. It reminds me of it reminds me of a flowchart, like most visual scripting languages. Yeah, I went back and I saw that stream and I saw that you guys bleeped me. I still really appreciate you guys putting that on YouTube. Thanks, man. Like, I know that was a pain in the ass to go in and like bleep my vulgar ass. That probably wasn't fun, so thanks for that. I want to go back. After Kind Ships, maybe I can get in your stream again. I'll write some talks or something. Oh, for people who don't know, Calvothe is one of the, what is your role, technically? You do the streaming stuff at Epic, right? You run the streams? You're marketing? I don't know what you are. I don't know. Thanks. Community manager on the engine team. Cool. Yeah, you are big on dad jokes, I recall. I'll have somebody bleep you in real time. Maybe they'll add like I become a big enough deal. Twitch like has a 5-second delay on my thing so they can just bleep me as I talk. What you working on, Forkitect? Link it. Let's all judge you in real time. Game like Dark Souls. You're at the Bomber's Peak, but with exhaustion? I don't think that's a thing, Calvo. You may feel like that's a thing, but that's really not a thing. That's just, exhaustion. There's no studies that are like, yeah, when you're really tired is when you get super creative. There's studies about the Bomber's Peak. There's actual science behind that. I don't know if I believe it. Oh yeah, that's probably why you're not sleeping much. You guys go hard at GDC. I want you to know, like, in my circle of friends, the reputation Epic has. Because I don't know if you realize this, Tim, but like, most of my friends, we go to GDC and we're like, all right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna not drink until at least Tuesday. Or, because, you know, the heavy days of drinking, the party days are gonna be Wednesday and Thursday. So maybe a drink on Monday, no drinking on Tuesday, and we're like really careful about it. But every time Epic, I swear to God, they have the biggest party the second the plane lands on Sunday night, and it's just like a rager the entire week. I don't know, like, how you survive. I don't know how you don't all have severe liver damage. But everyone I know at Epic can put them down, man. And it's like go time the whole time, too, with you people. I love the booth you have, too. You know, the first time I ever demoed a game was in the Epic booth at GDC for the Flame and the Flood. And I thought that's what it was going to be like every time I demoed. It was so pleasant. You know, we had like these break rooms and there was free snacks and drinks and shit. And it was just this amazing, fun time. And people were playing the game and I loved it. And everybody was super supportive. And like I got to meet all these people from Epic and everybody was interesting and you know, all kinds of downtime and stuff. It was just really well managed. And so I was like, oh man, showing games at conventions, this is so fun. And then I went to E3 with Microsoft. And I remember, like, I have so many stories about that E3. They're just like the first day, I stood there. I was working it alone, and I worked it for like 3 hours, and I just was on my feet, and I'm like, hey, I want to go eat lunch. Is there a place I can eat lunch? And the person running the booth is like, well, there's that room, but that's just for Forza. And there's that room, but that's just for this other game. You know, we don't really have a room for you, but if you go out through the double doors, and you eat right there behind the dumpster and you don't go too far, I bet they'll let you back in. You probably won't have to go all the way back around. And so I'm like, okay. And so I walked outside and I like horked down a salad next to a dumpster while the bouncer like watched me and then let me back in. And that was basically like night and day. Wait, where are we here? Oh yeah, this is the announcement. This is the thing on Wednesday? I'm just gonna skim it. Oh, it's all... I know Tim Sweeney's doing a keynote, right, on Wednesday? I should just read. Tim Sweeney. Is Microsoft having a keynote too? I wonder all the other keynotes. E3 is devolved. $9:30 a.m. Yeah, I'm gonna be slammed for all of GDC. Do you know when all the other keynotes are? I know Google's doing a keynote. Yes, that one's Tuesday. I should write this down. March 19. Dude, what is the deal with keynotes at GDC? Yeah, that one's Tuesday. How about Microsoft? I don't even know if this is the right year. You know it's a big year when people are doing their fucking keynotes at GDC rather than E3 and stuff. Though I guess you guys, for you it totally makes sense because Epic is all like developer facing. Yeah, the post 7 p.m. meetings. My year's actually pretty chill this year. Back when I was in AAA, I used to have like, I used to stagger 3 parties every night. It would be like GDC gets out, and then you have the dinner, like the early dinner, which maybe bumps into GDC, which is like 4:30 to like 6ish, and then you've got the 2 parties after that, like the one that's kind of like the party you're gonna go to first, and the one that's the one you know is gonna run later till at least midnight. And the key, like the perfect day was when you get out of the conference and you go hit all 3. But now I'm not cool anymore because I'm indie, so I don't get invited to the parties. And I used to love the Microsoft parties, but they fucked it up that one year with the go-go dancers, and now we don't have those anymore. Hey, Vander. What's up, man? I know GDC is the biggest one for you guys. Yeah, I was lamenting, I feel like there's a lot of announcements happening at GDC this year. And, like, to me, for Epic, it obviously totally makes sense, because you guys are developer-facing. You're not, like, if you had big announcements about Fortnite, I'd imagine that would be at E3. But for game dev stuff, for the engine stuff, obviously that's going to be at GDC. Do you guys have your own show? You do, right? Like you have some sort of Epic thing, right? I guess it's just hard to get people to go to that. I'm excited too. I want to see what you're up to, man. Unreal Academy. Oh, for various reasons I need to update to the latest engine, and I haven't been doing it. And I don't think I'm going to stream that because I think that's going to be straight up pain, because I know I got somewhere in this project is a really wicked bad circular reference, and I don't know where. And it happens to be that on this specific version of Unreal that I'm using right now, it's not an issue. But the second I upgrade or I change the engine to any other version, I can't boot the game, and I can't, I'm not a programmer, I can't step through and figure out why. It just hard crashes, and I have no idea why. And that's going to be the thing I figure out, not now, because I need this to be stable for GDC, but as soon as I get back, that's going to suck. Yeah, I popped in very briefly to watch Jay. I saw that he was doing turn and play stuff, and I was like, hey, I recognize that. He mentioned me. That's cool. I appreciate it. Jay's coming out too, right? I assume I'll see you guys all there. I'll see you guys. I didn't get an invite to no Epic party though. I will say that. Tim, putting you in the spot right now. Yeah, I know I'll see you there. More importantly, I'd like to see you, like, at the Epic party. You have my email. You wanna, I don't know, send an invite to a dev? That'd be sweet. I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just saying maybe you've got 30 hours of sleep. You just accidentally... You're planning and executing the parties. Excellent. I don't know if I'd announce that right here. But yeah, I'd be in. You don't have much reason to go to GDC, Vandavander? It can be, if you don't have a goal, it can actually be kind of a bummer, to be honest, because it feels like everybody else is so busy and everybody else has plans and shit, and you can feel like, God, why? If you don't have a goal, it can be kind of stressful. I think when you're first starting out, GDC is really fun just to go to for like kicks. It's all about the hustle. I don't know. It's like anything else. If you go there expecting something, you're gonna have a bad time. How do I put it? So, say you're really stressed out and you're like, all right, this weekend I'm going to a music festival and I'm going to have a good time at this music festival. This is my time to have a good time and I'm going to be happy and I'm going to have the most fun. And then you go there and like some shit happens and you're not having the optimal best time possible. Then you're frustrated because you're like, God, I work so hard and I have so much work to do and I'm not getting the most fun out of this moment. I hate this. And you've put pressure on yourself to have fun, and that pressure is making it so that you can't have fun. There's examples of that just all over the place in life, and I think conferences like GDC, if you go there and you're like, I'm gonna hustle and I'm gonna get a job, you know, it may not pan out, and then you're gonna be really, really stressed out. And when you're really, really stressed out is when you're gonna be unable to really put your best foot forward and give good interviews and shit, right? So in a way, it sucks, but you kind of have to go in with like, maybe things will pan out, maybe it won't. I've got some stuff together in case it does. Best case scenario, who knows? And so I feel like GDC is just something you have to kind of treat like that, where you're like, I don't know, I've just got a bunch of stuff together and I've got some loose idea of some things that I would like to happen, and maybe they will and maybe they won't. Going there expecting my feet to hurt. You okay with that not happening? Fair enough. Yeah, I've never, yeah. This year's gonna be fun, Tim. I'm really excited about Kine. Like, I'm having a blast right now. And I'm just hanging out now, but like, I'm really excited to show off the game. Yeah, now I know you're tired. This is terrible. Well, I wasn't working on anything super important, but I was gonna try to get something here done. Explain my thought process at the beginning of the stream, and then we just hung out for like an hour. You're bummed out because you just... Vandavander, did you... Wait, did you ship a build? I'm confused. Can I play Taiji? Or did you just kind of like just finish a sprint and now you're like lost because you're like, God, I had so much focus and now I've finished that and it's like, now what? You don't want to start another sprint yet because you're tired? Is that kind of like the deal? Got it, yeah. Well, generally, In a situation like that, what's going to reinvigorate you or terrify you is going to be seeing the responses of the people, right? How's reception been for your build? I'm just gonna loop footage of Taiji while you talk about this, in case this goes on YouTube later and people are wondering what the hell I'm talking about. Is there footage? This is the worst showcase ever. I'm waiting for Van de Vander to type stuff, scrolling through his blog. Half haven't gotten back yet. That's actually a pretty good return, honestly. And you sent it out. I mean, you were working on it pretty recently, so it's only been a day or two, right? This isn't a bad showcase. There's a lot of work here. Yeah, if you want 30 results, you gotta send to 120 people. That's about what I've gotten. I'm actually shocked you got half back. I've been amazed at how much feedback people are willing to give for game design, actually, to be honest. That was something I did not expect. As, like, I'm an animator and we'll give each other critique, and so I'm used to the idea of, like, animators will always come together and artists, everybody will critique each other's work, but it only takes, like giving your thoughts on an animation just does not take that much time. Whereas, like, playing someone's game, writing up valuable feedback, that is so fucking time consuming. I just kind of assumed, like, it wouldn't happen very much. But so far, every time I've ever reached out to somebody, I kind of assumed when people said, yeah, I'll help you with the game, or I'll give you feedback, I assume they're being polite, but people will sit down and they will play your game and they will give you feedback, and it's amazing. Because it takes so much time to do. It's been about 2 weeks since you shipped the build out. Got it. Cool. Feedback is your favorite part of the job. Well, yeah, for you, Tim, because your job is being community manager on an engine that's sweet. If you're, like, getting feedback on a game, it's usually, I don't know, depends on what kind of feedback you're getting. Also, I think it's a pretty easy to, if you're a community manager, getting, like, you're just in a mindset where your whole job is, like engaging with people, right? So engaging with people feels good because it feels like you're doing your job and things are going well. Whereas, like, if you're a game developer, your whole job is to, like, make a game, then people tell you things, you're like, fuck, that's gonna make making the game take longer. This sucks. Or, oh shit, I haven't been making the game as good as I should have been making the game. So it's way less fun. I think. I suspect it's just a different mindset, man. The feedback has been positive, which is in some ways not helpful. Well, did you take a break for a while? Have you, like, what I would usually do is take a weekend off, like spend a full solid 2 days not looking at the game or thinking about the game, and then play it and try to play it like a new person, and then honestly sit down and write down everything you need to do that takes you from here until the day you ship and create your burn down, right? And then once you got that burn down list, you just do it. That's it. That's my advice. It's very simple. It's maybe not, I don't know if that's helpful. Because if you don't do it, then it won't get done. Then it'll just be a thing you didn't do. Times you need to guide people into channels. But the other thing is, like, if you're, I don't know, I shouldn't be giving advice. Different people need different advice. And I don't really know your situation. If you're bummed out, maybe the right advice for you is to, like, literally seriously take it easy for a while. It's hard to say. You feel like the game is still early enough, you haven't locked down what needs to be done to ship it. So you've still got, like, the big questions to figure out, basically. Like, you just don't have it all together in your head yet. Or you don't even know which questions you need to ask. You don't even know what the big questions are yet. No, you're not mistaken. I wouldn't say I had a process. Damn, this is the problem, is I had a full-time job when I was doing this. So a lot of it was just following what I was interested in at any moment and trying to stay true to what cutting the things that weren't interesting and keeping the things that were interesting, and I guess, yeah, just iterating. Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. I should probably figure out how I did the thing I just did. I recorded most of it, so there's that. You're resting on your laurels too much before tearing it down and doing the next big iterative step. Iteration doesn't always mean you need to tear down what you have, though, right? Maybe it does in your case. Generally, the tearing things down comes when you know what you're doing. Until then, you're just bolting new things on. But again, a lot of this is just theory. Like, different people need very different advice. Different games are very different. The fucked up thing is people often need opposite advice, and you don't know which kind of person you're talking to. And people will generally seek out the advice that makes them feel good rather than what they actually need to hear, so it's really difficult. That's why you should never give advice. That's my advice. Which might also be the wrong advice for you. But it's probably the safer path. This may sound really strange, but the last time I was working on a big project developing an audio engine, I moved my office. I literally picked up my computer and everything. Oh shit. And put it smack in the middle of the living room. Holy crap, Calp, I've done that before. Like, moving locations when context switching, like between, usually for me I do that like if I'm working on marketing materials in the morning and then something else in the afternoon, or how do I put it, like right now what I do is I'll wake up, I'll do one kind of sort of task because I have to switch between such varied things. Like sometimes I'm capturing footage and sometimes I'm like designing something for a t-shirt and sometimes I'm writing narrative dialogue and sometimes I'm doing business stuff and crap like that, right? And sometimes I'm in Blueprint, and just changing between these massive tasks, like it's simultaneously you need to do that to stay interested. And it does make the day more interesting, but it's also kind of difficult. And so what I'll do is I'll if I can, I'll move from here to the living room and I'll work on the laptop and then I'll move back up here. Or I'll go like I'll leave here and I'll go to the gym and I'll come back and then I'll do a different task. Like I take a shower, eat a meal, or go to the gym between different things, and I'll space those things out throughout the day. So, like, the absurdity of this is like I'll start the morning doing one thing, go to the gym, come back, stay just gross, do a different thing, and then take a shower because I want that shower to break up two different tasks. No, I don't take the computer to the gym. That would be interesting. It's a CrossFit gym. I feel like they would just fucking throw it or something. I don't know. I don't know what they would do. They do weird things there. I don't do the CrossFit. I go in and I leave my headphones in from the moment I enter the door. I just use the equipment and then I leave. I don't think they like it, but, you know, I got shit to do and I don't need new friends. I've got enough friends. I don't have that many friends. I just don't have a lot of bandwidth for friends. Just got a lot going on right now. I'm sure they're very nice people. The main thing I'm thinking about is that the puzzle solving flow is a bit weird because you don't manually submit solutions to puzzles. So sometimes you solve a puzzle on accident. I have an idea of how to fix that, but essentially means changing how all the puzzles in the game work. Interesting. Okay, so you do have a problem you're solving. I can't tell you what to do, Vander. The thing I know... Yeah. One day you'll wake up and you'll be like, today I want to do something big and difficult, and then you'll do it. You know that'll happen because you've done it before. And I know for a fact you've done it before because you wouldn't get to where you are now if you weren't somebody that was capable of doing that already. So one of these days you're going to wake up and you'll be like, I'm going to do it, and then you'll just do it. And until then, you should do whatever it is you can do. And this is usually what I do. Like, if you can't, like, I open this telling the honest to God truth, which is I don't know how to make the controller camera stuff work right now. It's a mess. I need to refactor it. I need to figure out how to make the controller camera feel good. I don't even know how, I don't even know where to begin with that. Like, probably I need a dead zone. I probably need to make it so that, like, if you just kind of nudge the controller a little bit, it, like, only moves the camera a little, and if you push it really far, it moves it faster, and I don't know. I don't even know what I don't know about that because I've never set up a system like that, and it's going to be a massive pain in the ass, and I just don't want to do it, and I've needed to do it for a long time, and it's probably the worst part of my game. It's probably been the worst part of my game for, like, months. But I know for a fact someday, hopefully before GDC, I'll wake up, probably Sunday at this point, and I'll be like, alright, fucking do it. And if I don't feel like doing it, I'll pour a big bowl of cereal, and then I'll deal with it, and I'll do it anyway. But I'm a little close to close out. That's all I got there. Anyway, it happens to everybody. You need a Manny? Oh, like a MacGuffin that you talk to? Yeah, like a rubber duck. I don't want to. There's... Honestly, Tim, the thing I give a fuck about the least is how to fucking program a controller to feel good. Like, this is a combination of subjective goal, thing that's not flashy and fun to work on, and I don't know. I don't want to do it. It sounds like a lot of work. I will. Yeah, Derek, the camera's movable already. So, like, I mean... Here, I'll play the game. Do you feel like that's why I'm here, supposedly? I gave up on marketing on Twitch, like, ages ago. I do this for other reasons. I don't really know why. This is, would be a fun level to play. I guess I should just pick one at random, but I'm having... They're so pretty now. Here's a level. So anyway, yeah, you can look around. You kind of have to. I need to encourage people to look around more. But so there's free cam, and then there's just going on the, what do you call it? The 90 degrees. And with mouse and keyboard, I think this actually feels really good. Like, this feels right to me. I'm really happy with the way the camera works for mouse and keyboard. For controller, I don't know, like, right now, I'm gonna move it real quick. I can get it into a state. Some of this is bugs. I can get it into a state where it, like, just doesn't do anything for a hot second. I don't even know how this is implemented. It feels like I need to invert the... It just feels so bad. I think also there's just a really big dead space in the middle. I probably did that intentionally, but I shouldn't have. Okay, look, I'm wiggling it. I'm wiggling it right now. See, nothing's happening. Yeah, loads of dead space. Nothing's happening. See how nothing's happening? Oh, that's me. Oh God, this blueprint is a mess. I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to. This level's also kind of busted. God, the controller just feels so bad. I think it needs to not drift to its... So when you let go, it needs to drift to a final location. I think that needs to happen maybe later. Like, there needs to be a pause before it does that. I don't want to do this. It's a lot of work. God. I'll do that on Sunday. No thinking about that anymore. Wait, what's your cool idea, Tim? Yeah, Derek, if I was like... If you wanted to control the camera, the easiest way to control it is with mouse. I don't want to be like PC Master Race or whatever the hell, but like mouse and keyboard will always be a bit superior to controller. In every way. Please. God, I'm getting emails. Alright, I'm not getting another soda at 10 at night. Cutting myself off so that I sleep tonight. You could hide notes around the individual. Shh. I had a system like that. I kind of cut it because I didn't have like a good payoff for it, and I keep thinking about bringing it back, but I don't know what I would give you as a payoff. I might bring it back as like DLC or something. I'm not sure. But I used to have like little winky faces and things, where like if you investigated far enough, you'd find them. The other thing is it's hard to, now that I've got another, like a whole art team in here. Partly I'm probably going to wait and see what they do, and I'm going to just riff on it. I don't know how yet. And like if you can see inside the helmet. I don't know yet. But yeah, that thought had occurred to me as well. It'll be a Gwen rap song. I don't think it'll be a rap. You want to know how I scope creep? So the things that I haven't been doing are the core important systems for the game, Tim. Like the controls for the camera and shit. The things I have been doing are things like, why isn't there any squash and stretch when these things go up and down? Obviously it needs that, right? So like adding squash and stretch to the shade, which is good because this isn't even rigged, right? Like this is just being done in the shader, the way it's raising and lowering. And so I had to like come up with basically math, like how far is each vertice from here, and I'm running a curve into it. I haven't quite tweaked it yet, but I'm gonna have a slightly, like a handful of different curves, and I'm gonna vary them up so that you get different, they fall at different times and squash and stretch differently when you look around. This is the least important part of this game right now, but it's apparently the thing that I've decided to not sleep and just do on like a Tuesday last week. Because I don't have good priorities. Oh yeah, Derek. For the people in the chat who don't know, Derek's cool. And I can't go to his website. He linked a website that's busted though, so Derek's not cool. Derek is cool, but bad at self-promotion. Bad hats. Yeah, I'll check this out later, Derek. Just because I don't think I should. I suspect this is pretty long. Oh, this is the GDC talk. This isn't the only GDC talk you've given. There was a different one, right? Because I saw one of yours. Was it about cameras? That's the only one you've done? Okay, I'm crazy. I must be thinking of something else. Because I swear the first time I saw you was a GDC talk. Oh shit, I've watched this. I listened to it. Yeah, okay. I listen to GDC talks sometimes when I'm working. That's why I didn't recognize it at first. Huh. It was good enough that I recognized you on Twitter and followed you. So it was a good talk. Because that does not usually happen. Tim, go to sleep, man. You know... Never mind. I'll talk to you about it. GDC. I'm not constantly in contact with Epic, but every email I have gotten from Epic is only at like 9 o'clock at night on a weekday. Or on the weekends. You guys need to take some breaks, man. I mean, I know I'm like pot calling the kettle black or whatever right now, because it's 10:15 on Friday. And I work. I mean, I'm sending those emails that late at night, so you know I'm in the same boat. But still, y'all need to y'all can. You're like loaded. You're supposed to be in the partying and chilling phase of life. You're not supposed to be in the crunching all the time phase. You just sent me a very important email. I just checked it. You're lying. Go to sleep, Tim. I will. Get some shit done. Right. Let's look at what our unlock looks like right now. The thing we were doing before I decided to not do any work. These are my favorite streams. The ones where I get no work done. Because usually if I'm streaming, I don't want to work anymore. So that's kind of ideal for me. Why did this get all weird and colorful? Alright, so that needs to be... what? You know, let's just look at what it looks like if I... I'm just going to set it to look like it does when it's highlighted. No, the email was exactly what he described. He sent me an email and the subject line is 10:16 p.m. and the contents of the email say very important stuff. Thank you for that, Tim. You're at the phase of exhaustion where the drive home is more daunting than staying where you are. I understand that. The power of the chair is strong, and the chair is seductive, but the chair does not love you, Tim. The bed loves you. You need to go home to the bed that loves you, and it's going to be difficult. But Tim, man, I'm going to need you to get up out of that chair. You got to get out of that chair, Tim. Oh, you're at home. Wait. So the drive home is more daunting than when you are, but you are at home. Is this a trick? Are you asleep right now? You're making no sense to me. The metaphor was lost. You closing Chrome is the drive home. I see. It was a metaphor. Okay. Well, I feel like this is significantly easier than Tim. All you have to do is close the web browser. I know I don't want to... The last thing I want to do, Tim, is diminish the struggle that you're clearly going through. I don't know what it's like to be you. I don't know exactly everything you're going through. I can't necessarily relate to your life experiences. And maybe closing this Chrome browser and taking 10 steps to the bedroom and going to bed is just like a bridge too far. But I believe you can do it. Like, I just have faith, man. Like, I feel like you got this, and I hope you don't write anything back. I kind of hope you're just gone now, man. Because you shouldn't be awake for 32 hours, man. That's too long to be awake. Vander, I'm going to spend the next week doing smallish things. That sounds like you know what you're doing, man. Alright, I think Tim's gone. That motherfucker's crunch. I need to figure out why that's so bright. I'm gonna do that next, because that's bothering me. Now, what do we think about this? I think that's an upgrade. I think that looks better. I think I'm gonna move the continue button up. It's hard to say, because it's fighting the background scrim right now. Maybe it needs another outline. Maybe it needs a dotted outline. It's hard to say. No, that wouldn't look good. The whole thing needs to move up. Yeah, I think that would look better. So, like, I mean, not in this instance, but in general. Oops, shit. Not you. Leader Van de Vander. The flip? Maybe. I don't really hate that it flipped though. I don't like that. Do I like that? Or do I like that? I'm gonna change you to be centered so that when this is in different languages, it'll be centered with the button. My drummer has late stage Alzheimer's. That's no good. We can't be making jokes about mental health now. Unless they're funny jokes. In which case it's fine. But you have to be funny. Jesus Christ, Tim. I can't encourage this behavior, man. You're gonna need to go to sleep. Like... I'm gonna stop streaming. Oh, the head nodding is a symptom of Alzheimer's? Hmm. How's it doing? Yeah, I was looking at why that scrim was so bright. This is what it should look like. Scaling the texture. Maybe this just needs to be clamped. Maybe I'm getting a value over 1 for some reason. Nice gentle dig there, Tim. Go with Unity. Go with them. Just make sure you've read the EULA. You know, if you've read the EULA, it's fine. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life. Do what you want. Do what you feel. I mean, actions have consequences. I don't know. Things happen. No, that still looks really bright, doesn't it? Is that just the color? It is? I feel like it's that color. It feels very bright. Maybe that's what it is, though. Like, if there was... Can I go back in time on this? No. Oh, this is something I did. This isn't the actual thing. No, wait, yeah, it is. It's like quartz here, right? No, something's fucked. This is not as bright as that. Open. No. No, something's fucked. Something's way fucked. Scan the UVs. I have the color. The alpha here is not required. This is a number between 1 and 0. Scaling UVs would not brighten anything. What the shit? You are definitely using that material. No, it can't be applying the post-proc to post-proc, can it? No, because the post-proc in the first... So there's multiple post-proc materials, but the first one will always be the one that's strongest, so that shouldn't matter. Maybe I'm crazy. I am a gamer. I support all game development, no matter how you decide to make them. I would love to support your projects in any way I can. I am able to support UE4 projects a bit more than other projects because I work at Epic, but gaming is gaming and I will be your cheerleader no matter what. Thank you, Diplomat Tim, community manager from Epic Games. Have you considered running for president? I'm really worried that no one's thought to do that, and you might be running alone. It's worth a consideration, that's all I'm saying. That's definitely brighter, right? Like, I'm not stupid, right? Like, this is brighter. Is it? It is, right? Is it? It is. No, it is. No, it is. No, something's fucked. What did I do? So... Wrong sequence. Quad unlocked. going from 0 to 1. What's happening? Why am I hearing audio? So what I'm doing it is as I pull out really far, obviously, but this would look terrible. So I have an overlay, like an image, that just pops up on the screen real fast and like scales up. Or actually the opposite, I'm sorry. Pops up really big on the screen and then scales down as soon as you hit the point where you're about to pop outside the world. And it just happens so quickly that I'm hoping people won't notice, and that's kind of the goal here. But something in some of the way I did it is, I think multiplying this by 2. That would explain why it looks the way it does. But I don't know where I did that. I'm putting the material, unless it was like somehow, like what's my post-proc look like without this? It should be empty. Yeah, there is none. This other stuff's on. The thing at the top of it, this executes in reverse order. So I think the thing in slot 0 should be over the top. Right? Right. So, yeah, before tone mapper, after tone mapper, and then any tweaks. So, right? Am I right about that? Right? How is that possible without jittering, though? No, but this happens after the tone mapper, right? Where would I? It does. It just does. I mean, it has to be before the tone mapper, otherwise it would jitter. But then that... How does anything work? Dude, if this fixes it, I'm gonna be real worried. No, this won't, because this goes from 5 to 0. No, not you. Fool. How about get me material in slot 1 and the material Oh, good. That didn't fix it. Oh, good. And yeah. Okay. So it just made it look like shit and didn't fix it. That's what I wanted. Good. I'm not crazy. You're crazy. So we are still back to not knowing why this isn't working, though. Thanks, Belly Arms. I'm glad you like it. It's definitely coming along quickly now. I mean, all content lock is done in July, which means the environments need to be done pretty much in the next, they start in January. I think we're pacing to be done. They'll be doing polished stuff in June. But, yeah, March, April, May. We should have the lion's share of the environments done. I'll be polishing things on the cinematic side throughout June into July. We'll lock the content in July, and then we'll be in bug fixing low QA phase for a bit, and then we'll ship. Porting starts in July. Speaking of which, I need to sign away my life to various platform holders this weekend. Those are really long contracts to read. All right. Nothing can change that. No other post-proc is affecting it. We're lerping between this image, the RGB values of this image, and the game. The material is very simple. I mean, there's the lerp that lerps between them, which is clamped, so it can't be multiplying this by 2. The only funny business I'm doing is scaling the UV so that it shrinks down. There's just... It's the RGB values of the world, which is just the quad silhouette, and the RGB values of this one picture. Which I might as well just set by default. Where'd you go? To be this picture. Yeah. Looks right here. I don't know. How to do when something this fundamental breaks. It's so simple. It does look more blue in there. I mean, part of that could just be it's doing some kind of auto lerp, maybe. Because it doesn't... Like, it might be lerping between this and black in here. Because it doesn't have anything to stencil against, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe the different preview windows show you different things. I'm just gonna desaturate the material, most likely. Or sorry, the texture. Because it's... I don't think anything's wrong with the logic. Is it an 8-bit color? I don't have any fog on. Oh, I mean the post-proc itself adds brightness. Yes. And I can't change that. We're just gonna have to update the texture to be less bright. Yeah. Okay. I'll let them finish and then I'll do that. Because this isn't quite done yet. It doesn't make sense to go down the weeds and color balancing until it's done. Okay. Well, we solved that mystery. And it's 10:45, and I know I've done jack shit, but you know what? That's okay, because streaming is about, I don't know, not doing stuff very much. Oh, it's been 2.5 hours. Huh. I think Tim's gone to sleep, but he did give us one last thing. I like this. Is this from, what do you call it? What is this from? Is this from that, oh god, what was that book? The one with, Always Bring a Towel, the life of, the meaning of everything is the number 42. God, what am I thinking of? There was a movie about that book. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Is that what this is from? Turbo said it, yeah. The AI will be our president. No, AI won't be our president, man. The Russians would hack it. Can't be trusted in it. Sure, Silicon Valley's all about it. AI would see the logical thing is to kill the humans. Well, I mean, once we've reached a point where we've all downloaded our brains onto the internet, then what's the difference between hacking somebody and just convincing them? I mean, it's not conversation in the act of persuasion, just another way of hacking the mind. Think on that. Or don't. You're probably better off if you don't, because it's a stupid thing to say. But you know what? You do you. It's going on 11 and I'm getting stupid, so I'm gonna go to sleep. Because I'm like an old person. I get tired at 11. I said a bunch of science words? Which of the words I said were sciencey to you? I think there's sciencier words in that. I think we can come up with something a little more impressive. let the smarter people think on that. You know, Volkiller, a lot of people would say that that's a cop-out, but I actually think that's important, that we should respect experts. We should let smart people do the thinking, and we should shut up and fucking listen to the smart people who do the thinking on things. Unless we feel like doing the thinking ourselves. I think we don't trust experts enough anymore. I think it's a side effect of any old motherfucker can make a YouTube channel and pretend they know what the hell they're talking about these days. It's a sad state of affairs. But then that does fall into other things though, right? Like if we only let the smart people make decisions, then who's to decide who the smart people are? Are we going to let the universities gatekeep who the smart are? Who defines that? That doesn't work either. See, it's late and I'm getting stupid. That was a stupid idea. We should instead think for ourselves. You're just about to start your own YouTube channel? You're in good company, stay thirsty. So is everybody else in the world. No, I think the cool thing to do is to make a podcast. I've been told. YouTube is tired. Why is all the expressions by the youth these days about tired? Everybody's tired and exhausted. I feel like we didn't used to use those kinds of expressions as much. We used to say like we're frustrated or we're pissed. Now we're tired. Maybe it's because we drink soda late at night. Maybe it's a problem with caffeine. Indie Dev got deep, did it? Hey, Goofy. Yeah, no, Indie Dev got stupid. I'm gonna go. Unless, well, this is kind of fun. But unless you guys have any questions or anything to wax philosophical about, I think I'm probably gonna roll out. Poor diet and 24/7 brain stimulation is making us tired. Possibly. I used to just be bored, but now I'm never bored. Well, I am bored, but I'm checking Twitter as I'm bored. So it's kind of like a passive being bored. You know, there's a time in my life when I like really thought it. You have to keep in mind, for a long time, I was that irritating friend that was impossible to contact because like my phone, like I'm like 5 years ago, I just never charged my phone, and I'd be in a place where like, oh shit, I left my phone's been dead for 2 days. And one of the things is like, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to be a person who charges my phone. I'm going to get on Twitter. I'm going to check Twitter every day, and I'm going to be in contact with people. I think I had the wrong idea. Like, I did a lot of things right during that phase of my life where I was cleaning up shit, but that one actually I think was a mistake. I would love to go back to a time when people just expected that they couldn't reach me. Because there was power in that. Like, if I didn't reply to somebody, they'd be like, well, that's just Gwen. She just doesn't fucking reply to people. Miss that. Be in charge of your phone. Coding tired is hard. It is hard. Are you coding right now, Goofy's wife? There's no power in that. Zing. Fair. It is good to allow yourself to be bored. That's when your mind can process all the stuff that's been put in the back burner. Yeah. To me, Turbo, that only happens now when I'm in the shower. And so at points for working on Kind, I would literally shower like 3 times a day. I just reached a point where I realized, I was like, wow, every time I shower, I figure shit out. And then I just started taking showers. And so I would take one until I ran out of hot water. I'd wait an hour and then I'd do it again until the problem was solved. Just aggressive bathing. I'm that person. You feel that way about Facebook? Yeah, we all got a thing. Used to be Reddit for me. Back before I was into Twitter, which Twitter's good for work. Twitter's really good at times. Like, I love Twitter when man, I have mixed feelings about it. Like when I tweet out like a picture or something I'm working on and it flies and everybody's like, oh, that made me think about shit and it feels really good. Or when I tweet out like a gif of Kind. I'm going to tweet out something on Monday. I want you guys, like if you're a friend, retweet the thing I retweet out on Monday. I've been thinking about this tweet. I planned it. So it's that half an hour today and I made a fucking tweet. It's going to go live on Monday. Tweet it out. But like when something like that goes viral, it feels really good. But Twitter is like, the most viral tweet I have is like some dumb bad take I had where I like with a grammar error in it. That didn't feel good. That felt very bad. I don't know how else to put it. Like, Twitter can be a shithole. Ugh. It's like, why is the most the thing that's gotten the most impressions out of anything I've ever tweeted is like this bad take I had with a misspelling or with a grammar error. It's not like the fucking trailer for Kine. Oh god, and don't get me wrong, like the likelihood that I do that is high. I don't type well. I misspell things. Like I'm just like autocorrect will fix this. Like I don't think about it. So that's on me. But still, god damn it. That's the shit that goes viral. Nothing I'm proud of. Whereas with Facebook, I feel like you at least have a conversation. Kind of miss message boards. I feel like we did a thing where like BSB was big, and then we moved over to forums, and forums were great. And now there's not forums. Now there's Slack and Discord and stuff. And those have threads, which are fine, but nobody uses them. And it's like the Kleenex of discourse. It's just, you're gonna put shit into the void and then it's gonna be gone. It's like a chat room. It's just not conducive to long-form conversations. It's interesting if you want social interaction in the moment, and I definitely see how it happens too. Like, in a world where what drives... You can't prove that people are engaging in a forum, because a lot of people in like a traditional forum just read and notice what's happening in the forum and they lurk and they don't ever like hit a like button, or you know, they don't feel the need to reply because the barrier to entry to reply is high, right? There's a Discord, the barrier to entry is very low. You can see exactly when people are interacting with something. You have impressions, and it makes it easier to sell things to marketing people and shit. So you can see the world, you can see why Discord and Slack are taking off, and you can see why Twitter is taking off. You can see why they have metrics that they can show to marketing people. There's like forums don't, but forums are better for thoughtful discourse in the world. Though in reality, if I was right now, then Reddit would be bigger. Reddit's pretty big. Because Reddit is basically a forum where you can vote. How is Reddit monetized? I guess they have the... yeah. Is that where podcasts come in? It's usually long-form conversation. Well, I mean, podcasts are just expanding on talk radio, which we've always had some of. Well, I mean, in America, we've always had some kind of talk radio. This is just new talk radio. And I think it's another way of... because so much of our country is like truckers and people who do things where they need to listen to something while they work, but their hands are engaged, but their brains aren't. Like a lot of tasks in America, at least, are like your hands are engaged driving, doing something. Your brain is bored. So that's where talk radio was really, really useful. There's always been a place for that in society. And podcast is just the new version of that. Technology sometimes outpaces our ability to use it effectively. Yeah, I agree with that. It is fun. It's fun to see how the children are adapting to things. Like I think I said before, like, I don't want to be like I study children, but like I love it when your study comes out on kids and they find things like, I think I've said this before, our dominant finger is our thumb if you're over like 20 something, whereas if you're younger, your dominant finger is your index finger. Or was it flipped? Ours is our index finger and the kids are their thumb. Yeah, I think it was flipped. The kids are the thumb. Or like how kids think, how they engage with media is so different. Watching the kid try to use a rotary phone. That was cute. Or like the baby trying to swipe on the magazine. I love that kind of stuff, those studies. It's more interesting to see what's happening to our brains with this new technology, especially being in front of a screen so much. I mean, can you imagine, like, I mean, I try to stay in touch with what, how do I put it? So you hear the things like, I don't want to be one of those people that gets old and then makes fun of the younger generation. Like, for once, I'd like to break the chain in that, right? Like, I don't want to make fun of millennials and shit. I'm a millennial. I don't want to make fun of the younger generation than me, right? And I try to understand it. And, like, there's some stuff, like, because I'm near Harvard, and you'll hear the outcry about safe spaces and shit on the internet and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god, it's the internet. The internet's just a cruel and dangerous place. And then you sit down and you think about it. Well, not cruel and dangerous, but, you know, like, you gotta take people seriously, toughen up, bullshit, whatever. But then you think about it, and you're like, these kids, most of their interactions with their parents have been through a screen. Like, what if you were raised and most of your interactions with other human beings were through a screen? If your parents told you to come down to dinner with, like, a text or like through IM and stuff, like, what if this isn't, like, in my brain, people are different online than they are in real life, but with kids that's not true. And so if you're like mean to somebody who's, I don't know, 20 or so on the internet, in their mind that's the same as like if you were just mean to them to their face, which is obviously different to me, right? Like, to me, I would never say, like, I could shoot off an angry tweet, but I wouldn't say that to somebody if I was looking them in the eye, right? But to them, it's like you're looking them in the eye. And so if you look at it like that, it makes a lot more sense. I don't know. These are just fucking 11 o'clock at night thoughts. Hand a kid a Game Boy and watch as they think it's a touchscreen. I don't know. It is fascinating. I think those people are flatlanders. Flat earthers. Is that really a thing? I thought that was a hoax. There is no such thing as a flat earther, right? Some kids will call you ancient for a rotary phone. Yeah. Well, that's kind of the point. Like, it's an outdated thing. I mean, that's not even a big deal. There's kids who don't know that a phone... There's kids for whom a phone has always been a device that can connect to the internet. There's people, like, I remember a time before the internet. A lot of... Obviously, there's a generation now that can't, right? Does the name Momo mean anything to you? No. Should it? I'm gonna Google it. Is this something that the youth are talking about? Oh, good lord. Oh man, this is terrible. Dude, the images that come up when you Google Momo is real creepy. Fuck, man, that is so disturbing. I don't know why Is it 'cause I'm late? But that's so fucking creepy. The new generation, defined by Goofy as 12 to 22, is doing some cool stuff as far as I can see. Things feel like they changed so much faster than I thought was possible. Well, they do say that the generations are getting shorter, that because technology is advancing so quickly right now, before you would identify, you would have a lot of culturally in common with somebody that was like 10 years older than you or 10 years younger than you, whereas now it's getting shorter and shorter, where you only really identify in like people who are 5 years older than you or 5 years younger than you, just because the difference between somebody who grew up with the internet versus not with the internet versus somebody with a smartphone versus not with a smartphone. The idea of like, my generation didn't have the fear that absolutely everything we ever did was recorded versus somebody that did. There's a harsh divide in my generation between the people who graduated college before the housing collapse in America versus after. That's obviously completely changed the trajectory of your life. Like, it's just difficult to relate to different people now because there's been so many events and so many large things that have that have fractured the generations. Sorry, stay thirsty. can see why she's petrified. That image alone is gonna haunt my nightmares. That was terrible. Hey, Great, what's up? Sorry, this is the end of the stream. You dropped in at the end when can't stop yawning, and I'm going to go to bed. But this conversation's interesting. Should have been thinking about, I don't know, thinking about the internet. Thinking about the youth. I'm definitely not going to look anything more into Momo. I'm just going to believe that that's horrible. And that there's a creepy ass bitch that's convincing people to commit suicide. Shouldn't believe things without looking into them and researching them, but I feel like that's disturbing enough that I believe it. It's getting to the point where the most significant skill you can develop is the ability to adapt to changes. The youth of the nation. We're starting a song. I mean, significant in what way? Let me think if that's true. I mean, it was always important, right? I guess not. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's good for society, Turbo. What's a good example? So, you know, I'm an American, so most of my examples are going to be American, right? Like, there's an idea behind a person who lives in LA, the kind of personality that they have, and it's somebody who it's somebody who's fake, who will never say what they really think about somebody. And there's a reason for that, right? Because the person who works for you right now might be your boss at your next gig. And it's because LA lives very much on a gig economy, where anything you do, you're there for a project. The deck is going to get shuffled for the next project. You don't know who's going to get there before you are. You can't afford to make enemies, so you kind of have to be friends with everybody. And that's the kind of result, that's the end result. That's how you survive in like a gig economy, is you can never really be honest. You always have to kind of, there's a sort of a fakeness that comes to that when you can't have principles. So I don't know if that's a good thing, but maybe you're right, and maybe it's just bad. I don't know if that's actually what you're saying, though, because you're talking about developing the ability to adapt to changes. So when I was thinking about the ability to adapt to changes, I was thinking like gig economy, LA. But you could take that in different directions, I bet. It used to be that things change slower so you could adapt easier. Well, I mean, there's some things I feel like change so super slow it's unbelievable. Like, we know that trucking is going to be a job that doesn't exist in like maybe 20 years. And 20 years is a long time, but I feel like we're just gonna not deal with that until it's too late, for instance. So, I don't know. I don't know if things change slowly, or if we just kind of stick our heads in the sand in some ways. It's been the case since the economic collapse. Since the American working class hasn't had the reliable, can always go to work at a factory with no college education and make a decent wage. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, Michael. Because I'm in a bubble. You understand? Like, it's difficult to see. Like, I have to look at statistics to really get out of it. Because I've been, like... I mean, I used to work as a waitress a long time ago, but I've worked for the last... I don't know. I started out in San Francisco 11 years ago. And then I moved from there to Cambridge. So I've only ever lived in, like, liberal elite cities, right? Specifically working in tech. So I'm not around I'm not around people who aren't college educated, ever. I don't have access to their voice, really. You understand? So I believe that that's true, but I don't... Like, that could be true, that could be not true, I don't know. I'm not around it, and I'm not, like... It doesn't really get reported on as much as maybe it should. I mean, it does now because Trump was elected and everybody's like freaking out, like, why was Trump elected? And then you get the equal number of like think pieces that are, well, he was elected because we've neglected the working class in Ohio. And then you get like, no, that's not it. And then you just have talking heads. And there's not really a consensus. At least that's the way I feel. Maybe there is a consensus and I'm listening to the wrong shit. But that's definitely one theory you hear a lot. That there's no skill set like that. Someday I could say I was born before AI. Yeah. Or before whatever comes next. Like, there's probably going to be a step up between here and AI. Like I said, we don't know much about the human brain. I don't think we're ready to jettison that yet. We're going to be in meat space for a while longer, I think. Oh, AI, not downloading yourself. I feel like AI is going to be a gradient. We're just going to slowly ease into that one. I haven't really done any research or thought on that, though. I have nothing here. This is based on nothing. I feel you, Turbo. I just tuned in and the first thing I heard was Trump is elected. I'm sorry, I'm about to go to sleep. I'm just babbling. For people in Oz, manual labor is paid handsomely. Is manual labor paid handsomely? Actually, statistically, one of the best jobs you can get in Boston is working as driving a dump truck or working on a dump truck, just because nobody wants to do it. And they do have difficulty hiring, but I don't know, it's a major city. I'm not one to speak on that. I neither study this nor do I know anybody in this situation. I got no data. I'm not really qualified. Thought the reason Trump was elected was Russian hackers. That is another very strong theory. Probably, almost definitely, some amount of true. I mean, can you really call it hacking if what they're doing is just manipulating Facebook? I feel like, this is fucked up, but I feel like I have a respect for the word hacker. Like, you gotta at least know some fundamentals about a computer. I feel like they were just manipulating a system. I guess that's what a hacker is. Fine. I don't know. Like, the barrier to entry to being a hacker clearly went down. Not just they did get Trump elected, so I guess whatever. Results are results. Speaking of my personal circle of friends with and without college education, basic labor jobs have been hit really hard in my area in Michigan. Yep, I've heard Michigan. Yeah. Basic factory laborers are given a minimum wage or just slightly above it. One can make a living, but not anywhere what I'd call paid handsomely. To hack just means to exploit vulnerabilities. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about what's been going down in Michigan and stuff. I feel like it comes up a lot. What was I listening to before? Something on the Gimlet Media Network was talking about that a lot. They in general go into that quite a bit. I don't have a solution. I mean, we have a problem of a lot of these jobs are going to be automated. I don't know where I stand on things like, there's a huge conversation about universal basic income. And I haven't figured out where I stand on that yet either. Because there's just so many different iterations of it. There's versions where it just replaces everything. And it replaces, like, if you are relying on Medicare and all this other crap to survive because, you're old as fuck, Social Security and shit, universal basic income won't give you enough to survive on, so we can't cut those other programs. Which I feel like a lot of the Republican versions are cutting those. I don't know. We need another country that's not America to do universal basic income and crush it, and then America might adopt it. I think that's the only way it'll come around. And other than that, I haven't really seen anybody really tackle any kind of solution for losing labor in Middle America. Middle America is a shitty way to say things like Michigan, but like the factory jobs, the trucking jobs, the jobs that a lot of people rely on that are going away more and more. I don't hear a lot of solutions for it. Soviet Misaki. Cracker means something very different in America. You might want to Google that one, but no, that's definitely not the word I'm looking for, man. American politics are weird. Russians hacked just by participating in campaigns, which is illegal, but is completely legal when our own people do it for equally terrible reasons. Campaign ads. We're just in the ugly part before everything becomes Star Trek. I like the way you think, Volkiller. Maybe. I think we're about to have... I think the next phase is going to be very much borderless. I've always thought this, though, and I'm frequently wrong. But, like... how do I put it? If the jobs that pay the most are... or that are valuable are like these high quality, or keep in mind I hang out with a lot of programmers and I worked in Silicon Valley, so maybe I see a lot of money going to people who work in tech and so forth, right? And I look at these jobs and I look at my industry, which is the games industry, which is every year becoming more distributed and more global. And you have people like on my podcast, I was talking to Alan Hazelden, people who move around the world all the time. You see a lot of that. You see a lot of people who are capable of living in any place and doing their job. And once you have that, what is the point of living in an expensive country like America, or living anywhere you don't want to live? If it's really, like, a lot of why we live where we do is just legacy, you know, it's where our families are, or mostly we just don't really have options. But once it becomes really, as traveling around gets easier and staying connected with people across long distances gets easier and working remotely gets easier, and we're moving towards a world where there's more and more remote work, and just becoming an expat and moving somewhere else becomes really, really easy. And then in the world where that's really easy, what countries have to compete to keep people at some point, right? I mean, there's probably a dystopian version of this where like-minded people tend to clump in locations. That could be bad. There's ways this could go wrong, but I just feel like, I don't know. These are just thoughts. I feel like the world is getting more global in a way, and there's going to be a lot of upheaval with that, especially in America, where prices are high and people are expensive. And there's going to be a balancing that's already taking place. I feel like I'm already a part of it. Like, it's just way cheaper to make games overseas than it is in Boston. It's just way cheaper to do things and to operate in other places. The only solution I can think of right now is to not support companies that hire people and avoid automation. Or wait, what? Don't support companies that replace people with robots. I don't know, man. Like, the thing is, you don't see those companies. You don't see... I mean, people losing their jobs, you don't have a choice over whether or not you... Like, a trucker doesn't have a job anymore because trucking is automated. What, are you gonna avoid all companies that have delivered goods? You know, like, it's not like you can just boycott a single company to make this stop. This is just the way things are going, right? Money in campaigns. We need campaign finance reform. That, I kind of agree with that, yeah. Probably. The idea that money talks is bad. Yeah. I think there was like there was some kind of legislation on that at one point that said that money is free, or to limit money into campaign dollars is a limit to your right to free speech, which I think is stupid. Money isn't speech, money is paper. Automation is the solution to population growth, because if all farming was by hand, we wouldn't produce enough. Alright, I am actually really, really tired, which is why I've let this go on way too long. I shouldn't have, because these are the dumb thoughts. I want you guys to continue this conversation because it's interesting, but without me. So let's raid somebody and hang out and whatever. Who's online? Oh shit. Alright, go hang out with Jonathan Blow. I'm glad you guys like this stream. I don't know how to host people. Let's try this again. Naysayer88. What if you don't wanna? Alright, who do you want to raid, Rory? Should I host? Then you guys can stay in one place. It's 7 a.m. Sodok, and you haven't gone to sleep yet? That's bad, you're worse than Tim. Fucking, I forgot how to spell. Holy crap, I'm tired. Naysayer88. Alright. I'll see you guys later. Alright. Later, if you can still see me. I don't know if you can still see me.